Hello everyone, it's the morning. Today I got Thomas with me, guest starring on the channel as always.
Bloody right, I'm back.
What we're going to be doing is we have both prepared a movie, and so I've got one, you've got one, and we're going to be swapping movies for today, calling it movie swap. And what we're going to do is both of us going to watch the movie that the other has chosen for us, and then we're going to convene afterwards, give our thoughts, discuss it a little bit, maybe have a bit of a debate. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, this doesn't end our friendship.
And we're going in with no context, like we're not explaining the relation of the movie or anything like that prior. It's literally just, here's what you're watching, have fun with it. I reckon it'll be fun because, we're both into a lot of the same things, but there are things that either just hasn't been brought up, and it'll be fun to sort of discuss afterwards, like the actual connection, and then like have all the nitty gritty stuff after.
Yeah, definitely. We have like a lot of the same interest, and like there's a lot of overlap in our personalities, but there's like the outliers where we're like they're so different from each other that we haven't really touched base with them. So it's going to be interesting to kind of like venture further out of our comfort zone in the friendship, and I'm very excited for it, honestly. The time has finally come. I'm going to be seeing what Tom has picked for me to watch this afternoon. Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah, okay, Love and Monsters. Yeah, no, I remember you talking about that one. I remember you saying you really liked it, and I was very interested in it. Haven't seen it, thankfully.
So I'm like, did he follow up on that? Hopefully not. So yeah, I'm glad you haven't seen it.
Yeah, sweet.
That worked.
That's a good one. I'm actually excited. That's cool. Sweet. My one is a little bit riskier, for a specific reason. All right, this is your movie, Thomas.
Oh, yeah, chasing it. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in your top four
Yeah.
on
On
Letterboxd, you're
Letterboxd.
saying.
Yeah. I'm excited, not specifically for you to watch it. I'm excited to see your thoughts on it, and because it's from what I've seen online, it's a very divisive movie. Some people love it, and some people absolutely despise it. So I'm like, and I'm in the camp that loves it. So I'm very interested to talk about that with you and see what you think. Well, without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. We'll get a little bit of our POVs, but next time you see us properly, we're going to be bloody debating some movies. Master debaters, you get me?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
All right, got the hat on because my hair is bloody atrocious today. But we're about to watch these movies now. I'm getting mine up on Netflix, and Tom is getting his up.
Currently ready to watch Geordie's Chasing Amy. Never seen it before. Haven't seen any of the Kevin Smith films or whatever the dude's name is, like that saga films. Yeah, you can see bloody Chasing Amy.
All right, Love and Monsters. Here we are. It's bloody playing. What the hell? All right, Tom, are you ready? I don't know if this is gonna work out.
Three,
2,
two,
1.
one.
Let's get it! Alright, all done with that one. Love and Monsters bloody checked off the bloody list. That was good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. It's not my usual kind of movie. As I'm sure Tom may point out, or we will discuss in the discussion section of this video, I'm a bit of a sucker for like dark, depressing movies. This one was very lighthearted, very hopeful, and had like a very good ending. So I'll save any specifics like my rating and like pros and cons and all that sort of stuff for the discussion section. But initial thoughts, I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Alright, just finished watching Chasing Amy, as you can see, credits there. Very emotionally sort of thought-provoking and like in-depth, very real sort of feeling. Not what I was expecting in like a multitude of ways. And I appreciate like the slice of life, like element and nature to it, and everything, but it did feel like a very personal and sort of humble film. Save more of that for the discussion with Geordie in the call, so let's head over to that.
All right, here we are. So let's get bloody down to the nitty gritty. We are like just a couple minutes off watching them. We're both very fresh. Which one do you want to do first?
I suppose I sent you the poster first, so I suppose you can talk about yours first.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Essentially, the main things I liked about the movie, overall, I did really enjoy it. It's It's not. I said this in my little quick thoughts. It's not necessarily my regular type of movie anymore, as I'm sure you guessed with what you just watched. But you know, it was really good, and it was very hopeful. It was a good lesson about like found family and all that sort of stuff. I like those sort of movies, and it was just it was overall just like a good time, and I liked it. It was like a classic coming of age, but like essentially with kaijus. I'm like, that's fun. Nothing to complain about there. It's just a cool premise. For a little bit, particularly in like the visual identity of it, it reminded me of Spiderwick. Just because, like, you know, how the creatures are kind of integrated with nature and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed
Yeah.
that. And he literally has a bloody leather-bound book with all the monsters and stuff. I'm like, sweet. It was a little predictable. Like, I could kind of tell that him and Amy wouldn't end up together. Uh,
That's ironic.
yeah, 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 I know.
Well, chasing Amy, bloody Amy.
Yeah,
Classic.
chasing Amy and then literally chasing Amy. There you go. Everything it was doing was good, but there was no like super big surprises.
Yeah, what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene, there's a couple that come to mind instantly. Him contacting his old colony on the radio, uh,
Yeah.
which is probably like probably seems like a rogue choice, but it was just like him finally realizing that like what he had was good, and he like went through all this and like it wasn't. It was kind of like an expectations versus reality sort of thing, and him realizing
Yeah.
I should have just stayed and appreciated what I had. I just liked it. It was just like the culmination of that whole thing, and like actually seeing his old colony like care about him and be happy to hear from him, whereas in the
Yeah.
start you know, it could be like a matter of like they did it specifically this way to show how Joel perceived everything, but they seemed a little bit indifferent. Where they're like, "Oh, you're important. You make the bloody minestrone," and so it's like you know, like it came across like they were kind of just indifferent. They're like, "Okay, if you gotta, you gotta." But like actually seeing them get excited and miss him and be happy, that was heartwarming to see. I really enjoyed that. So that's probably my favorite scene.
What would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, I'd honestly say like a solid 8, I think.
Oh,
Uh,
that's more than I thought.
yeah, I had a really good time with it, and I like the message behind it. The main flaws are just, you know, I didn't feel surprised much,
Mhm.
and I did have a little bit of a gripe with the humor. Like for example, I'll bring up a specific one when he's talking with Amy on the radio, and she's like, "Oh, I can't believe you found my station." He's like, "Yeah, I was on the first one too," and like it was kind of obvious that it was a joke, but then it showed the list of like 50, and then he was like, "No, I'm just kidding. I contacted like 50." That happened a few times. I was like, "Okay," like it was just like like the joke was good, and then you explained it, and I'm like, wasn't super necessary.
Was there anything when you were watching where, oh, Thomas really liked that, or Thomas would relate to that, or like any connection? Like, why do you think I showed you that?
I think the reason this was on your list was probably because of like the whole adventure aspect and found family. Because from memory, I think you really fuck with that kind of story as well. And you know, even just look at things like Lord of the Rings and stuff. That's kind of similar. I think that was definitely a big part of it. But also, I feel like something that really would have drawn you in was just the world building of it all. I think that was really well done. You know, everything felt distinct. Everything also felt integrated, and it felt like believable. So I think you would have really fucked with that.
And pretty much everything you said, and like you got a pretty bang on with why I liked it, but I also just feel like I related to the main character a bit. Like, you know, connecting with an animal, but also like a little bit sort of bloody frozen in the moment with certain things, especially more so at the time of like when I first watched it a couple of years ago. But I'd give it like an 8 as well.
Yeah,
Like
same.
pretty much like even for me, I'm like, none of it's top tier, but it doesn't really miss with anything either.
Yeah,
But it's like just very solid.
yeah, no, definitely.
And I also feel kind of similar themes with both of our films unintentionally. Because
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
you didn't know what we didn't, I don't know what you were gonna pick. You didn't know what I was gonna pick.
yeah,
And
legit.
bloody Amy and bloody about love and
Yeah,
not ending up at the end. It's like, well,
yeah, no, that's
I'll,
very funny that they ended up with similar. Yeah,
I suppose I go on to moving on to Chasing Amy.
yeah,
I didn't really know what to expect. Pretty much all I knew, because Joy talked a little bit about the film before we decided to do this like movie swap idea, and so all I kind of knew was like it was like 90s 2000s sort of style, where a bit more humble filmmaking, like not high budget or anything. with Ben Affleck and that two freaking duo dudes. The one dude that always wears the hat and the
Jay and
fucking
Silent Bob.
those dudes. Yeah, I really liked it. But when watching it, it felt very real. No, I was just like taken by surprise by like a few things during the film. It's like, oh, yep, she's gonna be like sort of lesbian, but then it sort of like twists back again with like showing interest in him, and then like his friends like being a jerk like most of the film and everything. And yeah, obviously you get the development of the main character at the well, not the main character, but his friend at the end, sort of being gay and everything. And then it's like, oh no, that does add up. And like it didn't. The film wasn't afraid of like showing different sexualities in different clubs and environments. You could tell it actually understood
Yeah.
everything. I don't know how much of a one it would be rewatchable to me because it is kind of sad and it's a bit like it's kind of very vocally explicit.
Yeah, no, definitely.
When it goes past a certain threshold or like certain things being said, I'm like, it does detract just from a rewatchable factor for me. But I understand that's also like a little bit of just the time period and feeling more raw and natural. I really liked the car scene when he's just like sort of confessing everything and she just sort of has all of her silence and everything and then like, cuts out and then like sort of leaves. The biggest thing I appreciate about the film is the emotional complexity. Like you think it's sort of one layered of like, oh well bloody, I feel like this and like confesses all the emotions. But then the other character will give their speech and it's like, okay, you can tell this is from like experience and like really thinking of both parties. It made me feel uncomfortable quite a few times, but that shows whether it did it well because it was trying to. What I'd give it out of 10, it's a bit hard for me to rate a film like this because it's not so much that I mean I don't kind of see this type of film too often, but it's also like it's hard to like what I'd rate it and then I look at another film I've given that rating and I'm like that's just extremely different kinds of films. And it's like, it's a bit hard to say.
Yeah.
I'd give it a solid 7, honestly. I just feel compelled to sort of give it that score. I've seen a lot more romance than you, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And so my bar is kind of high with like the Mount Rushmore of what's on there.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, this was like good and everything. But yeah, from what I've like experienced and everything, it wasn't quite as high as those.
Yeah.
But no, I still really liked it.
But why did you think, what do you think my connection or why I suggested this movie?
Like when watching, I didn't think about it sort of too much, but in hindsight, like your experience with relationships compared to now, or like just sort of where you were sort of led with whatever. So I feel probably a little bit of relation there.
You were definitely on the right track, but not exactly the reasoning. It definitely was a relation thing because of a past relationship in particular. I think you know the one I'm talking about, year 12. Tom lived through all this with me. Obviously, not everything was projected into the public, but like behind closed doors, it was very similar to that. Watching that, it kind of was like a form of therapy for me. The more I reflect on stuff like from my past, and I'm like, like it wasn't at the time. I was like, "Oh, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong." But like in hindsight, it was both of us, and I feel like that is like a key thing for this movie. It's like both of them made like pretty big mistakes. It's like, Holden was bloody stupid and prying for no reason and kind of insulting her for no reason, and his mentality just wasn't right. And Alyssa, having this past but not disclosing it is obviously not a good thing. Both of them were not ready to be together. And it's a really big thing that I, both in real life and in media, I really think about is right person, wrong time. If it was like, if I met them now, I could have ended up with, it's the right person, but
Yeah.
I met them at the wrong time and that just separated the bloody timelines forever, and I just really fuck with that idea, and so I really have that personal connection with it based on past experience.
Especially if that's the case like that, behind the scenes sort of knowledge does add to the film a bit, and that's just kind of the beauty of art forms like this. No, but I reckon that was a good first movie swap. And
Yeah,
again, pretty
definitely.
in theme. I'm just waiting for the day where it's like you're just like, oh yeah, go watch bloody Megadeth 7, and I'm like, all right, go watch Powerpuff Girls or something. It's like just fucking completely opposite.
Yeah, legit. We got pretty lucky for this one, but eventually it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments if you've seen Chasing Amy or Love and Monsters. We want to know what you think. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Whatever you think, let us know. Want to hear it. Hello? Hello? Tom? Alright, I guess I'll do the outro by myself. When will I see ya? I'll see you in a couple days. Sweet.